Hello and welcome to ShortCryptology, where we talk about crypto-related topics and gaming. Today we're going to see how endurance works, and since this weekend there's the double blue gems event, we are going to see how to get the most out of endurance, because it is the mode that gives the most gems, especially per each price power spent. So, as you can see, this is my endurance deck. I have mostly healers with like 5 tanks and 3 DPSs if you don't count Skelemas, or 4 if you count Skelemas. It's my setup. I've tried multiple things and this is what works best for me, so that's what I'm doing. Right now I will start the game and show you how I do things. Right now we can see I have the Crimson Paladin and an Acolyte, so it's not the best start, but it's not the worst start. And what we're going to do is, as soon as we can, we're going to put down the Crimson Paladin and the Acolyte to start getting those cards down that we need. Now we want to start pushing with our healers and tanks to try and get the positioning right, so that we can start using the other cards. Of course, this is a bit risky of a play, because we might lose a healer. And we have a backup one in the deck, but ideally we don't want to lose it to begin with. So we're getting the kills and getting the ground, which is good. I'm hoping to get the second tank to push top faster as well, but so far I haven't had any luck. Yeah, looks like we won't really have the options the way I want to have them, so we have to hope that we can push the Crimson Paladin where we want it. We have the first healer in its right position, so it's something. This way the Paladin can only get to the front. We will likely need to sacrifice one of our healers to get this working, because right now the enemy is pushing top too much and making us waste turns. I just wanted to get the tank one tile further so that we're sure they go in the right position. But so far, oh yeah, now we got it. There we go. Now I can start thinking on how we want to place the rest. Right now I'm thinking of using the stun maybe and the DPS healer. It's not the best way to do this, but with the cards I got, it's my best shot. Now I have to hope I can get tank soon. I could have put down one of my worst healer and picked it up once I got this mage, but in this case I'm just happy that I got some useful cards, and it doesn't have to be perfect all the time, so I'll make it work. I'm gonna use the tank up here so we can push it right, hopefully. I'm hoping to get the healer at the same spot that the other healer is, but yeah, we'll probably see the tank go there, which is fine. Yeah. Now what we don't want is to see this blue healer go in front of this tank. So right now what I'm gonna do is make sure I can get the better cards, like more cards, so this is it. Now, if we were to just pass the turn, the healer would go in the wrong position, so I'm gonna get rid of this tank so the healer goes in the right position. There we go. Now we just need to get a good tank and place it in front of the healer. Hopefully I'll get it in the next couple rounds. Otherwise I might have to throw down some units just to sacrifice them, which is not ideal. Oh, there we go. I got the tank. Now I can start pushing and finalize my positioning. There we go. Everything's setting into place here too. This is not the best positioning, but sometimes you have to make it work with what you have. Sadly, I did not get the cards I needed in the right moment, so my bot doesn't really have the DPS I wish it had. It's probably going to fall apart fairly quickly after Crimson Paladin dies, which right now with a 1-7 stats, it's gonna happen sooner than later. Now I wanted 2 DPSs since here I can afford it, and since we have another Acolyte, I'm considering the idea of getting a backup front on the top, since we can. So I'm going to place this with this behind it, and maybe pass the turn for now. Now sadly I didn't make the best out of it. Oh well, I made the best I could out of it, but not the best possible setup. As you can see, I have a front line of tanks, which is very important to me. One of which is the Crimson Paladin, which will really make it super quick for us to get to higher kill amounts, because for as long as nothing kills him, he will just one-shot something every turn unless he gets stunned or something. And yeah, I did not place the Skelemas this time around because I didn't get it until the end, so this is not ideal, but we might still get fairly high, because yeah, bottom is where it's gonna fail. Top is doing well, it has the tank, so it's probably gonna get to like 250, 300 kills without really losing the tank, maybe more. Sometimes it survives up to 400 somehow, or well, not quite there, but almost. And once the tank dies, we'll have an Acolyte with a lot of health and a good DPS behind it, and if a DPS dies, we'll get the other Acolyte to take his place, and top will become penetration immune, so we are most likely going to see top do well. Bottom is my problem, because I didn't get to place one like this DPS, or Skelemas or anything, so we have a very weak DPS once Crimson Paladin dies, which is gonna happen around, I don't know, anywhere between like 150 and 250 kills, because of how weak Crimson Paladin is right now with its 7 health. When Crimson Paladin used to have 10 health, it could easily survive much later on in the game. Anyways, and once the Crimson Paladin dies, we will have an issue. First of all, Scourge Lord is in the first row, so penetration will likely one-shot him, so we'll lose our stun right away, which the stun is good for slowing down the DPS from the enemy. And then we have a bunch of healers which will die fairly quickly to penetration and don't do much DPS, so that's an issue as well. I would have wanted to have like the skeleton archer instead of this stun guy here, and maybe the stun guy here. This way he can stun from safety range from penetration, and usually if whoever is covering this spot dies, the one behind here would take his place if this guy had anyone in range here. So it's a good way to it's a better way to place the units compared to where I place them. Also, usually I prefer to have the second Acolyte on the bottom, or well, where behind the Crimson Paladin, because the Crimson Paladin is going to die way earlier than the Skeleton Warrior, so having the second Acolyte on the line that's going to fall quicker, it's a good strategy, but this time I couldn't really make it work that way, so it's alright. Then, another issue I have is that I couldn't use Skelemas. I would usually put Skelemas in one of these rows, like the 4th row, so that it doesn't really do much until the tanks are alive, but once the tanks die and the Acolyte are tanking on this row, the Skellimas from here can do DPS. So we get a better DPS later on in the game when we need it, because early game you can see things are dying rather quickly. I know we lost the whole damage from the tank here, but we have these two guys doing enough DPS to take everything down in 1 to 2 turns, and the Crimson Paladin is killing stuff here, so that's fine. But later on in the game, when the tanks die, we need all the DPS we can. So what I usually do is first 2 rows tanks, second row acolytes, third row I try to put DPSs, fourth row I try to put DPS or stun. Both strategies have their pros and cons, like having a stun is useful until you have a magic resistant enemy, so you have to have some physical damage like an archer there to make sure that if a magic resistant damage guy comes, you don't get stuck in the line because you can't kill it, which happens all the time, especially if someone with penetration gets to kill the archer, and now this healer, for example, will take the place of the archer, and all of a sudden you have no physical damage and that line is pretty much stuck, which, depending on the situation, could be helpful. Sometimes having one line stuck means that the enemy can't push on that line, so you only have to worry on the other line, which might be doing better. Maybe your Crimson Paladin is still alive, or maybe you have more DPS there and Skellimas is there, or you have both acolytes there. So, but in general you have to consider mixing up your damage and making sure you can kill both people with armor and people with magic resistance in both lanes. Magic, like armor, it's not a problem because everything here almost is magical, so you need to make sure to have some archers, ideally in both rows, which I didn't do this time, because I couldn't place this archer or these Skellimas because I didn't have them, so I had to make do, which is not ideal, but it will work. Right now, what I'm picturing is Crimson Paladin will die fairly soon, and then we'll have an issue with healers dying fairly quickly to penetration, so I will have to use what I have to try and fix the bottom situation. Maybe put the tanks first, but yeah, it's not ideal. But yeah, I have an healer I can use and Skellimas and the archer, so if all these healers were to die, we would be in big trouble, but at the same time we could just put the archer first, Skellimas behind, the 2 tanks after that, and then the healer. We would miss like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 heals per turn, which is an issue, and we might not get to 411 kills, but at the same time we could still get to close to that, so we are probably gonna get the 18 gems on 2x event, so that's fine. And right now I'm just gonna let it go and keep an eye on it every so often to make sure everything is alright, and if I see things start to die, I will think of my plan. I hope that this video was useful. I'm probably going to make another video where I show my strategy go in a more successful way, because this is not the best positioning, but it's a good thing to show that even if you have a deck made for endurance and everything planned to work, and sometimes you just won't get the right cards at the right moment, you have to make do, so you have to be flexible and be able to like figure out some kind of strategy. This was probably not the best thing I could have built with the cards I got, but I was trying hard to see if I could get the right cards to make this work, so instead of making work what I had, I decided to go YOLO and risk it for the biscuit and see if I could get the right cards to finish up in a better position, which didn't happen, so it is what it is. But since I'm probably gonna be running these things so over and over, it's fine, I'll just let it go, and the next run will probably be better than this one. So for now, I thank you for watching, and I hope that you got something out of this video. I am trying my best to explain as well as I can what my plan is. I will make a new video probably not long after this one to try and show how things should go, because this is not ideal. And maybe by watching both videos you'll get some ideas and make your own endurance deck, or maybe if you want, discuss some of your strategies, how you make it work and how things are in your endurance deck, so that we can all grow together and get a better style and strategy, because mine is the best for me and my cards at the moment, at least the best one I could figure out. But I'm more than willing to discuss with anyone, like what the best course of action is, what I should replace some cards or buy better cards to make it work better. I'm down. Just comment, or I don't know, go to my socials and discuss with me. I'm more than happy to discuss and figure out the best way to do this. Maybe a faster way, because this way can be slow, especially once Crimson Paladin dies. The DPS could be fairly low, especially for as long as the skeletal warrior survives. Top's DPS is very low, and well, bottom is not doing well right now when it comes to DPS after Crimson Paladin dies. This said, I really want to thank you for watching this video, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I wish you a very good day. Bye.